What's up, guys? Coach Jimmy here from Modern Athlete Strength. Today I'm going to be going over a total body 3-day split. So basically it's broken up into 3 days of total body push, total body pull, and the third day is a hybrid of both pushing and pulling for the upper and lower body. Okay, so this is a continuation of this series where I'm covering an Excel template, kind of breaking down the category of exercises, and kind of it's up to you as the practitioner to kind of fill in the blanks and decide what you deem fit for your population and whoever you're working with. Okay, so for warm-ups and prehabs, again, this is just how I do it. This is just giving you more tools in the toolbox. There's a lot of strength coaches out there that may be watching this. You may have another way of doing it. There's no problem with that. I'm just providing you just a resource, another way to look at your warm-ups and your prehabs. So I covered this in the previous presentation, but increasing core body temperature, number one thing you can do prior to getting under a barbell before training is increasing core body temperature. So what is that? That is anything like low impact, nothing too fatiguing. That could be an easy pace jog, could be jump rope, could be a rower, that could be a bike, anything low impact for about 5 to 10 minutes, get your heart rate up, get a sweat in, and then you're ready to kind of move into everything else. Here, the next category I have is lower body mobility. Again, this is a total body model. So I have upper and lower body prehab / mobility movements because we would be doing both upper and lower body together. You could, if this was an upper body only day, you could do upper body mobility and activation prior to your upper body day. And then the opposite if it was lower body, keeping all your lower body stuff. But since this is a total body day, I kind of do a full body approach with the warm-ups as well. So lower body mobility, that would be hip mobility, ankle mobility. I like to do things that help put you in a better position prior to whatever movement you're going to be doing for that day. So in this case, our main movements are going to be some sort of squat variation and some sort of bench variation. So again, hip mobility is going to be important for the squat. Ankle mobility is also important for the squat, just to put you in a better position. Okay. Lower body activation. Now we're mobilized. Now we're going to activate the tissue. What does that look like? That could be banded clamshells. That could be banded lateral walks. That could be a Copenhagen side plank to activate the adductors, anything lower body activation. It could be as simple as body weight squat, just to turn the tissue on and get it moving. From there, upper body mobility. So it could be T-spine, could be shoulder mobility, things like that. If you decide to have a front squat as your main movement, you may want to do, again, more T-spine, more like lat flexibility, things like that to put you in a better position for the front squat or the front rack position. So again, when you're designing your program, think about what movements you're doing in your program, and then how do we optimize those movements and put you in a better position for those movements. And that will dictate your prehab / your mobility. Then we go into, after upper body mobility, upper body activation. That could be band pull-aparts. That could be reverse flies. That could be something as simple as a push-up, things like that, just to turn the tissue on prior to getting under a barbell for bench press or whatever upper body movement you choose. Again, I have ankle mobility, knee stability. You can throw core stability at the beginning. And none of these movements are meant to be really fatiguing. It's really just to prime you so you're ready to go for whatever the session has for you. Okay. So the first movement of the day, lower body push. Okay. So that would be your squat variations. It can even be unilateral variations as well, but it'll be pushing fashion. So your back squat, your front squat, your Zercher squat, things like that. Again, I always err on the side of whatever your situation is, meaning what equipment you have access to, will dictate what your movements will be. If you're programming for somebody in a garage and all they have is a squat rack, you're obviously limited to those options. If you have every piece of equipment imaginable, a lower body push option could be a leg press if you're working at a public gym or something like that. It could be a pitch shark or a belt squat, things like that. That would all fit into this category. It also could be your unilateral variations, which would be your single leg movements. So barbell split squat, dumbbell split squat. But again, usually these first two exercises are going to be your big main movements, most likely movements that you may want to test at the end of a cycle to see if your program is working and the interventions that you're putting in are actually working. So just think about that also as you pick your main movement. Okay. Anywhere from 3 to 10 sets. Doesn't mean you're doing 10 working sets. That could be 3 to 4 warm-ups and then 5 to 6 main working sets, depending on your phase. Also, if you're going for a 1 rep max, obviously you'd be doing 1 rep and then all the way up to 12 plus if you're doing drop sets or working more hypertrophy. In the previous presentation, when I covered tier system, I had the main movement paired up with a core exercise. In this, I break it down to 3 categories. So core, mobility, or activation. So again, you could have your core movement paired up with your lower body push, some extra mobility or extra activation. None of these things are meant to be too fatiguing where it's going to take away from the main movement. It's more of like an active recovery in between sets, and just put you in a better position for whatever that main movement is. Okay, so that covers the lower body push. Moving on to upper body push. So this would be your bench press variations. So again, if bench press is your main compound movement that you're programming, and maybe you're using percentages and things like that, that would be plugged in here. That could be bench press, close grip bench, any bench press variation that you're familiar with, or whatever tool you have in the toolbox there. If the athlete or the person that you're working for needs to emphasize overhead pressing as a main movement, for instance, strongman competitors, in strongman, most of the time it's you're pressing implements over the head. So bench press is more of a secondary movement compared to the, or more of an accessory movement compared to the overhead press. So again, you'd program overhead press. So that's why I put it in that category. Okay. Paired with that, upper body posterior chain. So banded pull aparts, band or cable face pulls, rear delt flies, some upper back work there. So that covers your upper body push. And then moving on, it's still a push day. So everything is push emphasis, but now it's your lower body push accessory. So if your main movement for the day for lower body push is a squat, you could plug in unilateral variations here, just to work on imbalances, things like that. So that could be pistol squats, that could be reverse lunges, rear foot elevated split squat, lateral lunges. And then I give you roughly, again, this is just an example, but anywhere from 2 to 4 sets, anywhere from 4 to 12 plus repetitions, depending on what the goal of the phase is or the program is. Okay. And then upper body accessories could be dumbbell, horizontal, angled, or vertical pushes. So this could be your dumbbell press as an accessory. This could be a dumbbell incline. This could be a vertical push, which would be like dumbbell military press, half kneeling, one arm military press. And those would be paired up together. Okay. So those are, again, 2 push accessories. And then moving on from there, more of your continued accessories, just extra work here. Core, usually core stability, upper body posterior chain, because I think we all could use more upper back, and just strengthening the posterior chain there. And then arms, grip, neck, things like that. If you're a combat athlete, I think everybody should be training some form of neck, just for overall health. But again, for performance, if you're a grappler or combat athlete, neck is important because it's constantly getting pulled on. So you want to strengthen the neck there. Grip work is really important for everybody. So you could plug in some grip work there. And that could be plate holds, that could be various captains of crush grippers, things like that could be plugged in the accessory superset at the end. Okay. So that covers the upper and lower body push day. Okay. Moving on to the upper or lower and upper pull day. So moving on to day 2, which is right here. All right. So your lower body pull option would be your deadlift variations or your clean variations, depending on who you're working with. Again, it could be either one. If you're progressing to cleans, that could be plugged in this block, or your deadlift variations. Same as day 1, roughly 3 to 10 sets, 1 to all the way 12 plus repetitions, still paired up with core mobility or activation. Again, things that you're trying to dial in for whatever that main movement is. So if it's a clean variation, you may want to do some more T-spine mobility or lat flexibility to put you in a better position to catch the bar. Things like that. Core bracing. If you're getting into a deadlift, heavy pulls, you may just want to turn on the core prior or during your pulls. So in this case, I have anti-lateral flexion, which would be suitcase carries, side planks, all those different variations of anti-lateral flexion. Okay. If you have further questions on any of this, you can reach out to us at Modern Athlete Strength on Instagram. So feel free to reach out. And then moving on to the upper body pull option, which would be your pull-up variations or your row variations. So that would be in this category right here. So upper body pull, which would be, like I said, your vertical pull or your pull-up variations, your row variations there. And same thing, it would be anywhere from 3 to 10 sets, 1 to 12 plus repetitions, and then pairing up with more upper body posterior chain, which upper back, reverse flies, band pull-aparts, whatever tool you have in the toolbox could be plugged in there. Okay, so that's the lower and upper body pull. Moving on to the accessories here. So we're right in this cell here. So we have your lower body pull accessory. I like to have knee dominant and hip dominant pulls. So example of a knee dominant pull, which would be any as simple as like a machine hamstring curl, like a single joint, hamstring curl. Could be a Nordic hamstring curl. It could be a glute ham, things like that. That would be a knee dominant pull for the lower body. And that would be paired up with an upper body pull, which could be, depending on what your main movement pull is for the day, it could be pull-up variations, it could be row variations, things like that. It could be barbell rows, dumbbell rows, things like that. Okay. And then the reps and the sets are here, depending on the phase you're in. And then moving on, same as day one, we have our core, upper body posterior chain, and grip, arms, and neck. Obviously, you're not trying to duplicate the exact same exercise every single day, but just the category. I like structure and principles. It just makes it repeatable, and it makes it easier as for you as the practitioner to have structure. And from phase to phase, especially if you're writing a lot of programs, you want to have structure to what you're doing. You don't want to constantly be trying to figure out, oh, what exercise should I throw on this day, or what should be my emphasis on this day. If you have a structure, then it's just plug and play. So again, that's why I'm just trying to provide this to you guys, just to make life a little bit easier. And this is just another example for you. Okay, so that covers the day 2 total body pull. And then day 3, it's kind of a hybrid of pushing and pulling. Depending on what you did on the first 2 days will dictate what you do on this 3rd day. So this could be a lower body push. This could be, if let's say you back squat on day 1, you could do a front squat as an accessory or your secondary lower body push on this day. And you could also plug in unilateral variations as well on this day. So lower body push, again, 3 to 10 sets, 1 to 12 plus repetitions, still pairing it up with core mobility and activation. That's up to you guys. Choose what you want there. Again, I have core and mobility and activation in a lot of spots. Doesn't mean you have to do core 3 times in a workout. It's just you decide where you want to plug it in, and then you can just plug it in once. So let's say I do mobility for each day in this cell right here. Then that leaves me an opportunity at the end of the session with the accessories at the bottom to do core work at the end. So that is another option. Okay. And then upper body push. So bench variation and overhead variation. So let's say I do bench press as my main movement on day 1 on the push day. This could be a variation of that. That could be a close grip bench. That could be an incline. A lot of times I like to do overhead just so we're hitting multiple planes for that shoulder. And so we're strong in multiple planes. So if I have bench press on day 1, most of the time I'll do some sort of vertical push or angled push on this 3rd day here. Ideally, this model would be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday with a recovery day in between. So you have that. And then we're going into down here. And again, it's still paired with upper body posterior chain. And then we are going into the C block here, lower body pull. So on day 2, we did a knee dominant pull. So on day 3, we're doing a hip dominant pull. So this could be anything from RDL variations, either single leg or double leg, meaning unilateral, bilateral RDLs. That could easily go in this category here. And again, that's your lower body pull accessory movement. Okay. And then you have your upper body pull. So again, just looking at the rest of your week, you try to fill in the gaps. All right. If I did a vertical pull and a horizontal pull on the other day, maybe I want to do more of like an angled or like a TRX inverted row or a chest supported dumbbell row. You could plug that in just to have balance within your program. Okay. The sets and the repetitions are the same, give you that range. Just because I provide this in here, there's a lot of practitioners watching this. Feel free to insert your own rep schemes and things like that. I'm just giving you a range here. Okay. Most common range, but in strength and conditioning, there's always multiple ways to do it. And then at the end, you have your core. You could even add lower body posterior chain, upper body posterior chain, and then your grip, arms, and neck to finish out. Okay. So that covers all 3 days. Again, this is just continuing our XL series, just covering different structures. Another thing you can do is with your warm-ups and prehabs, you can even add some power work prior to getting into your main movements. So let's say you want to add plyometrics. You could easily add plyometrics after you do your mobility and your activation. You could go into some plyos and then get into your main movement. So you're covering everything there. You're covering your strength, your power, your mobility, your activation, your power, your strength work. And then depending if you're going higher reps, you're covering a little bit more volume and hypertrophy work. So you're covering kind of the full spectrum there. And again, I tend to lean more towards total body templates and structures because, again, it allows for more recovery and it allows you to fill in the gaps with conditioning. So again, if this is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday split, you could do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday conditioning, depending on what you're training for, and you could build out your conditioning progressions as well. Okay. So again, I'm going to be providing these Excel templates as well, but hopefully this video helped you guys out, and feel free to reach out to us at Modern Athlete Strength on Instagram. If you have any follow-up questions, I'll be continuing this series as we go along, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much.